Good evening. We have the head coach of the U.S. Women's National Team, Jill Ellis. Jill, if you can start off by giving us a few words on tonight's match.
Well, obviously we are delighted that we punched our ticket. So, but I was really pleased tonight just in how we played. It's certainly about scoring goals, but I thought some of the play, especially in the first half, I thought was exceptional at times. So for me, these are steps towards how we want to play, and I thought tonight we took a big step forward in terms of moving the ball, and just our decision making on the ball was very good. I think regardless of our opponent, our focus was on us, and was really delighted with some of the play I saw out there today, and obviously we're really happy.
We'll start with Steve Kopp on the right.
Jill, can you just discuss the decision to start Mallory in this game, especially after Crystal had scored 5 the other day? What went into that, and especially given the do-or-die situation presented to a young player?
Yeah, I knew she was ready. So it was kind of looking more what we wanted and what we wanted to see, and I think part of it is in a tournament like this being able to utilize the depth, and we have depth in those positions. I think Mallory is a player that we put her on the left side specifically because Alex likes to run into that side, and so she can come underneath. But I thought she played well wide and coming underneath. So it was really about what we wanted in this particular game. But Crystal's an impact player, and I told her before the game, I'm like, you'll come in and be a game changer. And that's where this team is. They recognize just the value of everybody. It's already become a pretty close group, so I think everyone was really happy for Mal, and obviously everyone's really happy that we're moving on.
We'll go with Grant Wall.
Congratulations on qualifying. No reigning women's World Cup champion has ever won the Olympics the next year, and obviously you want to be the first.
Yeah.
What's the challenge there?
Well, I think we actually talked about it. It's our first January camp of 2016, that very thing, that no team has done that. And so it's certainly understanding that that's the target, that's the goal, and now figuring out how to get from A to B. And, part of that is how do we do that? Well, we bring in some of the best teams in the world to prep us for that and to get us ready for that. We vet players in pressure situations like we did today, and I think it's creating a culture and a belief and how we want to play in terms of being ready. I mean, we said at the end of the World Cup, where you are today is not going to be good enough to win next summer. We've got to continue to evolve as the game is.
Next question, Charles.
Mallory has turned some heads over the last
Really?
week or so here,
Awesome.
as you may have noticed. And
I don't read anything, man, so I'm just, she's good.
obviously you've been watching her for a while. She seems to be on a really unique trajectory. I don't know if you consider it to be unprecedented, but is the traditional pathway for American players, as we know it now, going to be enough to maximize her potential? Might we see a need to do something new here?
I mean, ultimately that's her decision in terms of which pathway. The thing for me as a national team coach is to make sure that she's getting highly competitive games and that she's challenged when she's away from here. So already that's a discussion in my head between now when our players go back into the league. What does Mallory do in that period? But in terms of a different trajectory, I think it's part of our evolution of our game that this is going to happen. And I think what we're talking about is at times players won't go to college. That's an individual's choice. There'll never be any pressure from me in terms of a decision. But I think that players, we've got good players coming along. There's a few more in the cooker, so to speak, coming along. And ultimately these players make the decisions that's right for them.
We'll go to RG. Danielle.
Jill, you're playing a young Canadian team that's scoring goals like nobody's business in this tournament. What are your thoughts on that match on Sunday?
I think it's going to be obviously a traditional competitive match. I think Canada, dealing with their diagonal balls and the physical presence. We probably haven't faced a team in a while that's going to pressure us like they will. They're a good team, a good squad. I feel really good about where we are. I mean, I think, for me, certainly always winning is in the forefront of your mind. But, we're bringing Germany and France and England in because we want to play those type of quality teams. So I look at this on the next game as a great opportunity to play a fantastic team. So it's only going to help us, and I think my eyes are certainly on winning this championship, but it's really about vetting our players for the summer now.
Danielle?
Jill, hi, Daniela from NBC Deportes. Given everything that this team has won, is there any additional pressure and how to handle it and keep the players grounded heading to Rio?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a new group of players. It's a new team. I mean, every team is different when you take a team over, and so I think it's not a difficult task in terms of when you're dealing with elite people and elite players. They're constantly looking for what's next, the next challenge. That's what elite people do. And I think our players in here are that caliber and that hungry to continue to hunt down championships. So in terms of drive and passion and wanting it, no, this is a highly motivated group. I think part of it is making sure we do all the processes that we talked about last year leading up to the World Cup, that we make sure all these things are in place, that we're primed and ready for summer.
We'll go with Laura Bexey on the right.
Jill, how much satisfaction or what's your take on having seen these players as the player development person for U.S. Soccer, to be in a position 2 years into being the head coach and it's happening? I mean,
yeah, that is a huge thrill. I want to give a shout out to all of our youth national team coaches because they take a large part in selecting the players and developing these players. But I think, having come from that role has given me a unique perspective in terms of, yes, I brought Mallory Pugh into the first U14 camp, and it's great to see that these players are coming through and invested. So I take a large satisfaction in knowing that our youth national team program is working and these players are coming through. And I think the type of players we're selecting sends messages in terms of players have to be able to deal with the speed of play and thought at this level. And, that certainly weeds out some players at the younger level, but, my hope is that we continue to find players like Pugh.
just a quick follow-up. I mean, as the coach of UCLA, where Mallory's going to be going, or the home pro, I mean...
Stoked for them.
Yeah, but I mean, it's sort of unbelievable to be talking about high school girls, young women, like NBA players missing college. I mean, what's your take on what college experience and college play adds to these players' lives and game?
I mean, obviously as a college coach, I recognize that. I mean, I think it's, for me to sit here and say, is soccer, what environment is better, right? What environment is better? And in terms of level and competitiveness, there's not another level than the one right here. So, for me, it's making sure she's ready for this environment. In terms of the college experience, it is for some, it's not for others. And having been a college coach, yeah, if it's sometimes a player's decision to go and to pursue a different avenue, as Lindsay Horan did, I think that you have to credit that to them. It's a brave decision, but already she's proven that it's worked, and I imagine there will be other players doing the same thing.
We'll go with Jose, Houston Chronicle.
Coach, how does Alex Morgan's performance today rate with previous performances by her, and what do you think of her performance?
Well, I think anytime you get your number 9, three goals, I'm pleased. I think Alex is wanting to continue to push her game, and we actually met with her, and she's just hungry to evolve, and talked about some things. But she's a poacher, man. She's a goal scorer, and I think from coming out of the World Cup and now turning the corner, I think the games against Brazil and the Victory Tour, you're starting to see Alex strong and confident. And I thought tonight that was a little bit of a catalyst for that. But she would probably readily admit that she wants to continue to get better.
With Graham Haynes on ESPN.
So you said you had told the team that what worked in the World Cup won't be good enough this summer in the Olympics. What specifically needs to be better?
Well, I think just in terms of we're dealing with more and more technical players, the speed of play. I think that, and what I mean doesn't work is it's we did a remarkable thing at the time. But it's more alluding to the fact that every team is now going to look at our team and say, how do we stop that? And so it's more about saying, okay, what do we need to improve and grow upon so that teams can't stop where we're at? And that's, that's certainly, I think our speed of play can be faster. I thought tonight it was very good. Just how we want to play, I think is something that, valuing the ball and not to say we didn't, but again, I think it's making sure that we're doing every possible thing to develop our game.
We'll end with Michael Lewis.
Jill, congratulations. Qualified, this is the qualifying team. Obviously, you're going to be picking another team toward the Olympics. What's going to go into your decisions? League play, players in form, injuries? Could you?
For sure, all of that. Yeah, I mean, it's, I've told the players, I haven't put a date on. I think the last time with the World Cup, I wanted to name the roster earlier so we could settle in. I think this time, with more games ahead of the Olympics in terms of the league, that certainly will come into play, making sure players are getting playing time. You know, minutes on the field, there's no other way, and so players are going to have to play, have to get minutes, you know, and obviously be productive in that environment. So the league will come into play, and you know, knock on wood, there won't be any injuries to have to think about. But yeah, I mean, it's still a long way off in terms of the Olympics, and it's that they understand it's still a process of selection.
One quick follow: have you set a date or any sort of
I have not.
unofficial date?
No.